So I just set my camera up. I decided to do this impulsively. I realized a lot of you guys don't know my current model, and I realized that now that I have more clarity within my trading, why not make a video on what my model actually is and how I trade it and how I have built consistency with it. And this is going to be me live back testing, so everything you see is current, meaning I didn't go in and manipulate data. I didn't know the outcome of the trades beforehand, and we're just going to backtest for a bit, maybe 10-15 minutes. And I just want to take you guys through my trading and my model. It's probably going to be around maybe 3 trades, maybe 2, but let's start right here. I just marked out these, both this high and this low, and I was like, you know what, why not make a video explaining, because if I could fully explain my model to you guys, which I can, showcases I finally have an understanding. That's repetitive, whatever. And so we have the Internet Money playlist playing in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud. Okay, so what I really like to do, before this I took 2 trades on ES right here, and I realized in order for me to actually understand which pair I will be trading, I start off with the higher time frames. I mark out swing highs, swing lows, and I'll explain why I do this in a second. This is an hourly time frame, 4 hour. If you guys are curious and want to see how that looks daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, there you go. So currently expanding to the upside. That doesn't really matter to me. So nothing on the 15 on NQ, but I will mark out this low on ES. The reason why I'm doing this is if we take out this low, it allows me to understand, hey, did we just SMT? That's literally all it's for, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Any low that I see that is prominent, I mark out, so on max on my screen, if anybody's curious, so it doesn't like look crazy like, man, like there's 40 lines on my screen. I'll mark out any swing low or swing high, and then internal liquidity, and I'll keep that marked out. So when price trades toward it or takes it, I'm able to see, hey, did we just SMT? It's as simple as that. Now just go to the 1 minute. So we really just use the 1 hour and the 15. I'm just explaining it so it's a little bit slower. I love dilemma, but let's change it. Okay. Also have this high right here we can mark out. This data high. You can see we're actually already have an SMT currently, but how do I validate my SMTs? If you're curious, because I don't just execute on any SMT, I validate my SMT with a chain and state of delivery. I will not take an SMT trade regardless of that. To be honest, if I'm explaining everything, it probably may be like 1 trade, but that's completely fine. I don't really care about showing a win or a loss. I really just want to show you guys my model and how I execute and how I backtest, because this is how I backtest, this is how I live trade, and yeah. So yeah, now we can actually start moving the candles. Price action is not, no confluence to SMT, no nothing right now. Took out both highs. If you really want to be like technical with it, you can go in the hourly time frame. This is something I would do because I know how to trade my model, and I'd see if we have any hourly highs. For example, let's say we end up SMTing this and we take out this high on ES, then that would count as an SMT as well. But if you're just starting out on SMT, I wouldn't. You can. I mean, it's not like, you know, everyone's trying to be like, oh, it's so tricky. It's not really tricky. Some people say it takes more time. It doesn't take any time. I used to not trade SMT because I thought it would take a lot of time, but it's pretty simple. And now my internet's bad. Okay. Okay. Now it's fixed. But we'll keep that quote high, even though it's not really a high. It's a micro time frame high. but you could SMT that as well. Now you may be like, Lonnie, if you just SMT'd right here, right, and you confirmed it with a change in stated delivery to the upside right here, why don't you execute on this? Even if price action continues, let's say this is our draw on liquidity right here. Even if price action continues to expand toward that draw, I won't, me personally, I won't execute. Now you may be like, why is this lower probability? No, well, yes, because we didn't take out internal. Now you may be like, well, Lottie, we have these internal lows right here. Yes, we do. However, that's not significant enough internal liquidity in order for me personally to execute with, I guess, regular size on this trade. You know, if I had a live account, I still wouldn't take this trade. And you can see, traded up, took that, I'm getting distracted by Travis. Continue to trade to the upside. What else? My bad, guys. I'm going candle by candle because I want to explain my thought process. No SMT up here, not on the micro time frames. Maybe we had something on the higher time frames I missed. That's when you go on the higher time frames. Obviously, you know, got to be attentive. If you're not, then yeah, you'll miss something like that. However, there was no higher time frame SMT. And that's completely fine. If you don't have anything, if you don't have a higher time frame SMT, don't sit and mope about it unless you missed something. Just let price do its thing. Don't overreact. Don't try to chase price. Because if it's not your model, then it's not your model. Who cares what price action does, right? No SMT. And Q just took out this high. Now, this is something you could execute upon right here. Unfortunately, this isn't like really a draw on liquidity, what we marked out on the hourly time frame. However, this is a micro time frame reversal. The change state of delivery for me would be below this wick. This is what I would call a micro change in state of delivery. The actual change in state of delivery that everybody else marks out would be right here below this low. I learned, I guess I would call this a micro change in state of delivery from my friend, but he marks it out a little bit differently. I just found this method works for me. Yeah. So wait for displacement below that, and then execute. We have a micro time frame SMT, you know, right here, from here to here, or mark out whatever. This is clearly SMT. What am I doing? And then this would be a micro change state of delivery. And then look to target internal. You have your first internal draw right here. Always target internal first. I trade from internal to external and internal to internal. When you get trades that are from external to internal, those are typically power 3 trades. Those are really, really good trades. Reversal trades. This model is great at catching reversals. I also have another one. However, I need to go in and refine that. I'm focusing on one model at a time. I have, I guess, counting the micro change state of delivery, 3 models. One is with the fair value gap. This has no fair value gap included. However, I can utilize it as complements if I would like. And I just go in, screenshot it. Remember, while you're backtesting, don't be scared to take trades, regardless of the outcome. I found myself previously focusing too much on the outcome. Hey, I want to win a trade. Rather than learning. If you're focused on learning and you take low probability setups as well, you'll learn along the way. So for example, let's say this is a low probability setup. This is a setup. Would have been higher probability with higher time from liquidity, but this is a setup regardless. SMT, micro change state of delivery to the downside, took out internal liquidity, right? Take your trades, journal them, and then you can learn along the way with it. There's nothing wrong if you get stopped out, hit take profit. And if you do, then guess what? Now you have that data to go in, analyze, and say, okay, hey, this is working, this isn't working. What can I refine along the way? I'll just speed through this because we don't want to wait forever. So took out that internal, that's completely fine. And then continue back to the upside, and that's okay. Guess what? If that happens, journal it. One thing I will always emphasize, when having multiple take profits, always understand that some people may trail this after you take internal, but once you really take internal, your first internal draw typically, obviously price action has any reason to reverse, whatever, but you know, that's subjective to say, because if you understand higher time frame confluence, then you'll have an understanding of, hey, price action won't reverse back to the upside. Right here we didn't take out any higher time frame liquidity, so we didn't really have a reason to continue all the way back to the downside unless we wanted to really make a retracement for a higher time frame PD rate. Okay, we just went on the 15-minute time frame. We could see that's exactly what we did, right? Made a retracement for the 15-minute busy, that sounds so stupid, 15-minute bullish fair value gap, and continue to the upside. That's completely fine, right? Traded through that internal, price reversed, then I go in and I journal it, and then guess what? That's what you can also go in and journal as well, and I'll show you guys how I do that real quick. So what I would do, I would mark this as a loss. Obviously, model, I discontinued all of these. When I was originally focusing on developing my model, I realized, hey, I don't actually trade with one model. I have 40 different models. I was in a call with one of my friends and he said this. He's like, so what's your model? I'm like, well, liquidity sweep, change state of delivery, higher time frame for value gap, change state. He's like, well, that's multiple models. I'm like, no, but I use the same entry confluence. He was like, well, and then kind of brushed it off. But when I was analyzing my trades, I realized, hey, my trades are completely different. So if you're struggling with clarity, which I had been struggling for literally a year with this, because I felt like I would have an understanding and then completely lose the understanding out of anywhere. I was like, why is that happening? Like, why am I consistent for a month and I'm just totally inconsistent taking random trades? And it's because I was trading with 30 different models and I didn't know until I started collecting data. So if that you're struggling with clarity, start collecting. It's most likely because you're not collecting actual data on what you're executing upon. Because for me now, I only have 3 models, and this one right here, liquidity sweep, higher time frame, change state of delivery, which is a continuation model. This is a model for catching reversals as well as, you know, regular trades, expansions. Same for this one, same thing. Just earlier entry on this one. This has higher risk reward. But now I have clarity, understanding, hey, I know which model is which, and I can approach the market every single time executing on the same thing, which I'll go on and show you guys. All of my trades are the same. All of my wins are the same. All of my losses are the same. And that's what you want. If you have a loss, obviously with lower confluence, that's completely fine. Because then that'll allow you to filter out. And if you guys want me to make a video on how I filter out and how I refine my model, because I've been really focused on this, then I can make a video on that too. And I use ChatGPT as well in order to help me filter out my model, filter out my data, and I could show you guys the prompts I tell it, everything of the sort. So right here, we executed on a micro change of state of delivery. So we put that, confluences, what did we have? We had SMT, change state of delivery. We had internal liquidity, and single CSD is a micro CS change state of delivery. The one I get micro news. Did we have news? Yes, we did. We had PPI, and when I say this, I mean it. Check. Yes, I was googling who is Anakin's father. And when you do backtest, treat it the exact same as your regular trading. A lot of people will say, oh, backtesting doesn't work, backtesting doesn't work. Let me tell you when it works. Backtesting is an amazing tool. However, I find a lot of people on TikTok started like negating it, and I followed that cult of negating backtesting. And if I would have started backtesting heavily, like really tracking my data, doing what I know I need to do 6 months ago, I'd be making so much money right now. but I negated it. My bad, I'm switching to a song. And now I'm here paying the price for it. So don't negate your back testing. Treat it as if you're, trading normally. Go through the candles, see what's happening. Allow yourself to feel the emotions. Allow yourself to feel the losses. And I'll say this: allow yourself to feel the losses. Why? Because FX Replay has a um, option to where you click replay to this date and it removes your trade. You can see right now my balance is 91,000. If I go right here, don't worry, I'm gonna take the trade again, but it'll go back to 92. And a lot of people like to do this when they take losses, be like, no, I wouldn't have taken that anyways. And I found myself doing this when I was previously back testing, when I was just messing around on the chart, right? Thinking I was collecting data, but I wasn't really collecting data. So treat it as your live trading. Back testing will help you if you lack clarity. Then back test. It will not fix your psychological problems if you struggle with over trading, over risking, over leveraging, but it'll help steer you in that right direction. That's something you have. It's so simple to stop doing that. So I don't know why you guys struggle. Just don't do it. Set yourself a strict set of rules and don't do it. So simple. But if you struggle with that, then that's something you have to deal with live or just drill into your brain. But if you're struggling with clarity, if you're struggling with technicals, you need to backtest. You're not where you want to be because you haven't backtested. You haven't focused on collecting the proper data. If you struggle with confidence, backtest. All of these other things, backtest with it. And you don't even need crazy hours either. Backtest an hour a day. Just make sure you get your model in, because once you start to fully have clarity, that's when it starts to click. And then you can execute upon day to day, right? And you'll start to understand lower probability setups, higher probability setups along the way. Okay, and so if back to the journaling, if I take a loss, I won't put the risk reward order type. I'll put whether I market ordered or limit ordered. You'll find that 98% of my trades are market order because I don't like to miss my trade. Because limit, not always guaranteed, and 9 times out of 10 I don't get my retracement. Now, this is something I've talked about before. I put my trade confidence. How did I feel about this trade? Because it helps me get an understanding of how I'm understanding my model. This is in confluence with clarity. Because if I start to feel confident, semi-confident, then it showcases, okay, hey, I'm beginning to understand how the confluences of my trade idea is in accordance with my model, and that helps me get a gauge on, hey, what's the probability of this setup, right? And so I would highly recommend track confidence. If I don't have confidence level here, but if I went all the way down to, let's just go down, load more. Let's just go here, right? In the beginning, I didn't have trade confidence then. Right here, a lot of these trades you'll see down here, not confident, not confident, not confident, not confident. And I'd write, why wasn't I confident? Semi-confident. But I wasn't confident until I started continuing to collect data. And that's this one, I was semi-confident. This one I wasn't confident. You could see I'm still doing it now. Semi-confident, semi-confident, confident. Right? So put that, you'll be able to, if you struggle with confidence in your model, clarity, I always put it. So this one, semi-confident. However, price action was a little choppy. We could put non-confident as well, but we'll just keep semi-confident. Then I put the trade description. So what happened with price action? Let's take a look again. Where is it? Oh my gosh, I lost it. So price action continued to the upside. We were looking to short to internal. Once price action took out internal sell side liquidity, we formed a micro time frame SMT, so SMT on the 1 minute, and a micro change state delivery to the downside. We traded toward first internal draw before reversing also having made a retracement for 15-minute busy. This, since we did not take out external liquidity, we knew this to potentially be lower, mid probability. I don't want to put lower, right? Mid probability. So price action continued to trade higher toward a, I don't know, higher time frame PD array. Cause of loss, you can put that as well. We could just put incorrect bias, right? What else do we have? Yeah, incorrect bias. Trade doubt. Did I have any doubt during the trade? This will affect your confidence level. So if we add doubt during the trade that, hey, price action will continue to the upside, but for what reason, then you'd put that. A lot of trade doubt, if I filter it right here, you could see in the beginning when I was getting used to my liquidity sweep, SMT, change state of delivery, a lot of my trade doubt was on reversals. So if I go right here, filter, trade doubt, reversal, not win. I'll just remove this as a whole. Trade doubt. I used to have lack of confidence. You could see the confidence aligns with the doubt. I had lack of confidence within my model due to not understanding, hey, this is great for catching reversals yet. And you'll learn that along the way. If you struggle with doubt, hey, I'm catching a reversal, but I think price action is going to go lower and stop me out. I think I'm catching the reversal too early. Put that down, right? Because then you could go in and look at it and see the commonalities between trades. And then I put the rest of the images here, but I'll do that after. And then I put the date, you could see with all of it. ES, if it's for ES, I put ES. Everything else will be NQ. If it's not labeled, I put the date. And yeah, that's really my tutorial on backtesting. And I'll continue to do that and just go and do it more and more and more. Like I said, if you guys want a full video on this, on how I refine my model, how I use AI to, go a little bit deeper into understanding what to do, even though it's not hard. But if you guys are just curious, want to know, drop a comment below, and I will make that video, because I could take you guys and show you guys everything I'm really doing, how I continue to refine my model, how I'm utilizing the data I get in order to increase my win rate, because that's really what I'm focused on doing right now. My win rate prior to this was a 47%, and just by understanding what my model is, by excluding all the other trash ones, now I'm able to actually trade with it and understand. My goal is to get it to around 65-70%. My average risk reward is 1 to 2, but I do have those trades that do run 1 to 4R on occasion, very rare, but 1 to 3, 1 to 2.5, whatever. So that's my goal. But yeah, there you go. There's my full tutorial on how I collect data and how I backtest. I'll do another example trade real quick, just super quick. I won't take anything, because then the video will be another 10 minutes long, but same thing we did before. I'll do again so you guys understand. So if you guys are curious how I start off on the day, and don't worry, it's not like 40-hour analysis. Like, it takes me 10 seconds to do analysis. Very quick, very easy. So start off on the 4-hour. Cool. Don't see anything. Don't see SMT'd here, right? Going the hourly. It's quick. What are we doing? Really nothing. Have this high. Bang right there. If you want, you can mark out the fact that we took out liquidity right here. You don't need to. Go on the 15-minute. Nothing else in the 15-minute. Why? Because you already marked out the highs and lows on the hourly. So then you just go in the 1 minute. You start looking for trades. It's as simple as that. So it's very quick. If I had to do it all over again real quick, I removed my drawings. I can't remove my drawings because I need to go screenshot the trade I lost. So if we're doing it again really quickly, just for another example, it's pretty quick. And now I'll start trading normally. And even had a micro time frame SMT right here. Not there, right here. Right? Pretty simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And like I said, if you want me to go more in depth about anything pertaining to my trading, comment below. I'll do so. And yeah. Love you guys. Comment. I'll touch you with the water emoji, the squirt emoji, if you got to this. And if you don't, then I'll know you didn't. Okay. Peace. I need to go eat dinner. It's late.